So, welcome everyone to this free Zoom thing. I don't know. And we're talking about what if it was possible to change anything? Because obviously it's not really true. It's just a lie, right? As I was talking to someone about that, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's not true." But anyways, so welcome for those of you that haven't met me or don't know me. I'm Dr. Andrew Gardella. I'm a certified access consciousness facilitator, and I facilitate a whole bunch of different classes within the access consciousness. I don't know what it would be called. Different classes. I don't know. There we go. My words are escaping me. It's 6 or 7 in the morning in Japan. 7 in the morning. There we go. So, anyways, welcome. And yeah, what would you guys like to know? What would you like to change? And the real reason I called this "What if it was possible to change anything?" Oops, someone has an echo. Maybe it's me. The reason I said this, what if it was possible to really change anything, is because what if it truly was possible to change anything? Within Access, one of the things that really drew me to Access at the time was I was in chiropractic school, and people were telling me what I could do or what I couldn't do, or what change was possible with the body and what change wasn't possible with the body, and how you had to do all these things to create the change if the change was possible. And I started reading all these different things on bodies and about people having these experiences and actually healing from things that they weren't supposed to heal from, or getting better from things, like changes occurring that wasn't possible or that they said couldn't be changed. And it was always interesting to me because people would rather choose to listen to they would always look at it from the point of view of, oh, well, that's just an exception to the rule, rather than actually using our resources and putting our resources to seeing why someone actually got better that quote unquote we said shouldn't get better, but they are better, rather than saying, oh, that's not possible and writing it off, or saying it was a fluke, or saying, rather than looking at what actually was creating the miracles occurring in people's lives. We tended, I was being, they were being written off. So I got a little frustrated. And then I found Access, and it really started, for me, it was the acknowledgement of that true change and changing these things where it was really possible, that it wasn't just, giving lip service, and that really you could change anything when you actually look at the energy and change the points of views that you have creating. Because what we talk about, one of the first Access tools or tips or philosophies is your point of view creates your reality. So if you have a point of view about something, that's what shows up. So if you have the point of view something is going to work out a certain way, has it ever worked out exactly the certain way you had the point of view about? Exactly. But oftentimes we have these points of views, whether you're looking to change your money situation or to change a family dynamic or to change your body. Many times we actually have these points of views in place that are actually stopping us from changing it. Or we just decide, simply that it can't change, which is your point of view that keeps it from changing, because you're an amazing, powerful creator, and you create everything, that's showing up in your life one way or another. So with that, the other thing that I really enjoy with these Access tools and the processing is that it's always about questions, because a question always empowers and an answer disempowers. So asking questions creates an opening to possibilities and to an awareness of different choices. And from there, you actually have the ability to change something. You could choose something different. But without questions, most of the time, we just go round and round and look at figuring. And by the way, why isn't a question? It's just a nice circular argument. But with the questions, you can actually start looking at, okay, well, one of the basic questions we use is, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? So for the things that you're having difficulty changing, or the things you can't, you've already decided can't change, well, just ask, well, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? Because oftentimes we've already decided that it has to look a certain way. The change, if it changes, it will change this way. Or if it doesn't change, that's because it can't change. And asking the question starts to open up you and the universe to contribute to you in a different way. Because you're asking, ask and receive is actually true. So when you ask for something, and you have the willingness to receive it, you can. But many times we actually use our capacities against ourselves. So we start asking for things to say, not change. So anyway, so how many things have you decided can never change? Or it's impossible to change? And so everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And for those of you that are new and are like, what the hell did I just say? What it is it's the clearing statement of access. And if you want more information on that, you can visit theclearingstatement.com. But really what it is it's going to wherever you created this point of view, put this seed of limitation in place that stops things from actually changing, that stops things from moving. And so you don't really have to understand the words, but it's kind of like a magic wand that starts to unfix your fixed points of view. And as you start to do that, you actually start to become aware of more choices in different things. Because as you have the point of view, say if you have the point of view, this won't change, it's kind of like putting the glasses on that it can't change. So all you ever see is how it can't change. But if you take those glasses off and look at the world from a different point of view, then you could see a different possibility. So with that, how many things have you decided you can't change and that are impossible to change and they'll never change because you've tried so many times to change them, but they still didn't change, so you've just given up and it can never change? So everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whew. Nice. And if any change was really possible, what would you choose? If you could change anything in your life, what would that be? What would you choose? So everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy it and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. Because it's very interesting. I was just on the Voice. Access has a radio show called Voice America called the Access Consciousness Show on Voice America. But I was just doing a show talking about possibilities. And so often, like based on the people call in and ask questions, and one of the callers, like all their questions were, they were calling in about how they were eliminating choices. But that's so often what we do is we actually come to these points of views that eliminate our choices. Or we buy other people's points of views of what's possible and what isn't possible and what can change. And then that's the reality we create, rather than going, oh, well, what else is possible? Or rather, is this true for me? Because your point of view creates your reality. And what we like to say in Access, what's heavy is a lie. So that's weird. Sorry, everyone. Apparently, my internet did not like that, or something didn't like it. But anyways, what's heavy is a lie. Is that where I left off? What's heavy is a lie, and what's light is true. So what makes you feel icky and... There we go. Spotlight video. I don't know what that is, but we're not going to mess with that right now. Sorry. By the way, I have ADD, so if I just start going on a different thing and you want me to keep talking about the thing I'm talking about, just like flag me back down. Bring me back down. There you go. I like that, Christine. You're like one of the few people with videos. I got it. That's good. I can even see you because you're right. Anyways, so when we're talking about what's light is true for you and what's heavy is a lie. Well, lightness is the things that you have a sense of space with, the things that bring you a sense of peace, the things that bring you a sense of ease, that make you smile, that make you laugh. That's what we're talking about when it's light. What's heavy is the lie. You know, it's like where you're like, you know, when you're sad, when you're depressed, when you don't seem like you have any choice or any movement. Heavy, because it's not actually true that you don't have any choices. So, and problems. Yes, the problems. There you go. So, anyways, I wonder why my computer, anyways. So what have you decided you can't change that you truly can change? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And so oftentimes we define things or we decide these things that we can't change, and then that actually what's creating it. But the funny thing is, and there's been so many times in my own life when I've been looking to change something, or I'm trying to get something to change, and I realize that I'm the one that's stopping me. which is always, very frustrating and very funny at the same time, because I'm like, oh, great, I can change it because I'm the one doing this. But, oh my gosh, I've been trying to change this, working really hard, and all these people won't let me. There's a very cute story that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, tells about how his one daughter was upset she was fighting with his son, and he sent them both to the room, and then she came back out, and he's like, don't come out of your room till you're happy. And then she was like, but I can't, he won't let me be happy. I just want to be happy, but he won't let me. Well, that's not actually true. So there you go. Because it's actually your choice that creates everything. Because point of view creates your reality. So what have you decided and defined can't change that actually truly can change? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. So can we talk about making someone else's point of view more real and true than your own? Or that's not the thing that's sticking me. Yes. Oh, point of view can feel so powerful. Yes, I know. Your point of view can. But isn't that funny that you can create this point of view so dynamically that you think you can't get out of it? It's like the walls are caving in on me. And I'm like, wait, do I have the point of view the walls are caving in on me? Oh, yes, I do. But then I POC and POD it, or I go, okay, what else is possible here? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, it doesn't look the same. I'm not looking at the same scenario again. So it's really funny to me because these tools are really easy to use, and it's just amazing how quickly things can actually change when you start looking at it from the point of view that your choice creates, and you're the one that's creating everything that's showing up for you. The good, the bad, the ugly, some way, shape, or form. There's something you're choosing that's creating that. And when you can actually look at that and go, okay, well, what did I choose that's creating this? So what are you choosing that's creating all the stuff you can't change in your life? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if you guys have questions, you can take yourself off mute and ask your question, or you can just type it in the chat too. I'm happy to read it. But I think, Brittany, when you're talking about making someone else's point of view more real and true than your own, that's one of the things we're talking about is where you choose the things based on, they have more power than you, or they're better than you, or they're smarter than you, or all these things. But when we're looking at in Access classes, they're always about empowering you to know that you know. So it's about empowering you to know that whatever you would like to choose, So it's not that, your parents know for you, or that your teachers know for you, or that your boss knows for you. It's that you know, because you as an infinite being know. So
yeah, but do we decide at some point maybe we make a contract with our parents? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just a little loud. That's why I was saying whoa.
Sorry. I'm gonna have a lot of people in my classes.
Yeah.
But it's like my mom told me about this rash that I had, and I guess I created it to be what she told me it was, and then I finally went to the doctors and they were like, oh no, that's not what you have. But it was more I was still aware that I bought her point of view, even though I have all the tools, and I was not buying her point of view. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but were you actually, the thing is, not buying someone's point of view is not aligning, agreeing, or resisting and reacting. And oftentimes what we do is if we don't align and agree, we'll resist and react. We're like, that's not true. Excuse me. That's not true. You're wrong. That's not actually what's going on here. Look, I'm going to prove it to you. But anytime you go to proving, you've already decided the opposite.
Okay. So what I did was I went to prove that I didn't have that, and then created it to be so.
Well, did you go to do that? Yes or no? Which one's lighter to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It's great.
So in that situation, again, say somebody, you're in a situation where somebody is kind of impelling a point of view on you. What's the first tool that you go to?
My first tool is, okay, is this true? Yes, no. Which one of these is lighter?
Oh wow, that's so funny. Is like I don't even think I went and asked that question. I was just like went into straight panic of
Well, because
what was
oftentimes,
wrong.
like, there's all these lies and there's all this misinformation and these, alternative facts and everything that people like to use to propagate their point of view or justify their point of view. And we start going into like down this road. But I just stop myself right from going on it. Like, okay, is this true? Is this really what's going on? And especially when it's going with my body, I just ask my body, I'm like, okay, body, is this what's true for you? Like, yes, no. And then I go
Mm,
with whatever I get as a sense of lightness. And sometimes, it's sticky and we have these things. But also, please realize anytime you're stuck with anything, there's a lie there. So if I'm looking at like getting clarity and I'm not getting it and I feel like I'm having a sense of stuckness, then I'm like, okay, well, what's the lie here? And then I
yeah.
and I keep going.
Okay. Cool. It just seems like to me there's like some kind of subconscious place where you know allowing like then she'll start she starts looking up stuff about it and it's like you don't want to believe anything but then it's like just this other level where
Well, I
you're
mean, you
just
could always get.
automatically doing it.
Well, yeah, but automatically doing something is your choice to automatically do something.
So is that like pock and potting all of the auto response systems to like always
Well, yeah,
believe
and
your
it's
mom's telling the truth?
yeah. Well, your mom never has lied to you, Brittany, right?
Oh my gosh, she lied to me all the time when I was little.
Well, then why do you believe anything that comes out of her mouth now?
I think it's like because it's your mom or something. You're supposed to.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like this whole reality puts your mom and your dad as these figures in your life that you're supposed to respect.
but respect doesn't have to mean you actually take all their words and believe it is true.
Yeah.
That
So
just, but that's nice that you can use your family to create, the changes that you desire or to be what you would like to desire in the world.
well, I mean, it's really interesting because I just am like realizing it right now. Even I mean, it's like I never thought that I was so entrained to this until today.
Brainwashing
What's that?
to brainwashing, but you want to be a good little girl, and to be a good little girl, you need to do what your parents tell you.
Yeah. So what do I
At
do
what
to
age
change
do you
that?
stop being a good little girl, though?
Well, I mean, I was never really a good little girl, but I think there's definitely something there with the lies in my mom and
Yeah, well, then
having
that's just
to.
something because please realize also it's never one choice that gets you to where you want to go. It's multiple choices. So if you're
Okay.
looking at changing anything that, especially these things when we talk about we don't think it's possible to change, and then it's like, okay, well, you have to, like, I've been like, sometimes it changes really quickly and sometimes I'm like, okay, what did I choose that's creating this?
Mm, that's
And
a
it's
good
like,
question.
okay, well, just to use your example, okay, what did I choose that created this? You have a rash or whatever. Well, I bought my mother's point of view. Okay, so everything that is, fuck and pot it. And then it's like, okay, what else did I choose that created this? Well, I not only bought my mother's point of view, but I totally didn't look at what was true for me or my body, and I didn't ask any questions, and I just kind of just went along with it. Okay, so everything that is fuck and pot. And then it's like, but sometimes you have to tease apart these things rather than looking at them, because and the point of asking questions is it actually starts to break up the solidity of what we created as no choice. So it starts to break up those limitations and to break up the no choice to where you can actually see a different possibility.
Wow.
Because it's just, you could even just go, okay, well, what else is possible here?
Yeah, and it's also doing it from no point of view, like, because it's like I get that I am asking questions, but I think they have like a twinge of judgment to them, like,
It's
it's like,
not really a
oh, what
question.
else is possible? But it's
Questions,
like,
when we're talking about asking questions, if you make a statement and put a question mark at the end of it, it's still not a question. We're looking at energetically asking a question means it has a sense of space, it has a sense of possibility. There's an open-endedness to it. So it's like when we're asking, okay, well, what else is possible that I haven't considered? It's beyond your considerations. So if you're already going into consideration with it, it's not really a question.
yeah, how do you stop yourself from doing that?
Practice, choice,
Yeah.
because it's not you know, if it's, and it's also okay, play with the tools. Because it's what I would do is when I started, I'd be like, okay, like I'd be doing whatever, and I'd just be like, okay, what else is possible? It's like one of the times that I really liked it is I was on a flight, and there was a storm coming in. I was trying to leave. I think I was in Philly. I was in southern Pennsylvania. And I was trying to get out of a flight, and a big storm was rolling in, and they were canceling all the flights. And my flight had already been canceled. And I just happened to get to the airport like 3 hours before my flight. So I was like, okay. So I went to the counter, and I was like, what else is possible here? And they're like, um, let me check, sir. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking, what else is possible in my head? Like, okay, what else is possible? And they're like, I don't think there's anything available. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what else is possible? Is there anything else or this? And I was looking at flights on my phone. I'm like, what about this? Is this possible? Or what else is possible? And they're like, let me check, sir. And then they went back and did it again. And they're like, oh, I think I have something. And I was like, oh, great. How does it get any better than that? What else is possible? And they're like, do. And then like by the end of it, I was on a flight, you know, leaving an hour earlier and getting out before the storm and everything. Whereas without asking questions and everything, if I just took what they said, I would have been staying a whole nother night. It's like, I can't do that. I need to get to this place tonight. But that's really, you know, when you're willing to ask a question, you start inviting different possibilities, because you actually start looking for different possibilities rather than deciding, you know, this is the only thing that I can have, or this is the only thing I can choose.
Yeah. And is there like a tool to, you know, because obviously I've head tripped a lot in my life, and around, you know, anything that I feel stuck in, I head trip over. Well, so is there a way to get out of your head, like a tool that you would use to get out of your head?
Well, realize if you're stuck in anything, then there's a lie, because we're talking about.
Right. You did say that.
Yes, but it's always, you believe me, I point these things out to myself, even though I know them. I'm like, I'm stuck. Shit. Okay, so Pagan Pod the lie. And then it's just practice. You're like, okay, I'm thinking again. Oh, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, I'm looking at getting this right. Because what we're talking about is, there is no such thing as right or wrong. It's just, you know, because that's what the clearing statement we're looking at. What have you made right about this? What have you made wrong about this? What have you made good about this? What have you made bad about it? Those are all just points of views from which you create a judgment. But when you actually just start looking at, okay, well, what would I like to choose here? That's a totally different possibility. And that's really, you know, that's another question you can use. It's, okay, what could I be or do different here? Or what different choice do I have available that I'm not considering? Because many times it's like we say we're making a choice, or we're making a different choice, but we just put on the same clothes. You know, we're putting on the same outfit, but we say we're making a different choice. It's like you actually have to, like, to make a different choice means it's a different choice. You need to go in a different direction. Like choosing the same energy and saying it's a different choice isn't a different choice. It's the, you know, it's the same choice wrapped up in a new shiny package. It's like trading in your old model of the car for the same model of the car. But look, this one's new and shiny, and it doesn't have the dents, so it's different.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and
I'll re-listen to that.
I'm sorry. And how come it's easier when I'm working with someone else, doing anything for someone else? Well, you know, it's a lot of times we have this thing. It's very easy to see where other people are creating limitations in their lives, but you can't do that same thing for you. But you also, you know those people that you work with where it's really easy to see their limitations. Do they have the same ease seeing their limitations, or are they exactly like you, where they're like, I don't know what you're talking about? I need to re-listen to this. Can we go back? Can you rewind that for me? Can you go slowly through exactly how I'm creating this limitation?
So, Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
I've known you for a while now, and I've watched you do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you've said so far, it's choice, it's practice, it's a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really all it is, that you have to just stay in that question, stay in that space?
Yes.
I want like a magic pill.
That's the movie Limitless, you know? But really, it's like, I used to actually play a game. I was like, okay, I'm going to take this supplement, and it's going to be my Limitless pill, and I'm just going to, like, see if I can, you know. But it's really your point of view creates your reality. So, you know, what point of view do you have that makes it so difficult to like, be aware of your limitations or to facilitate yourself? You don't have any points of views like that, do you?
Fuck yeah, of course I do.
So everything that is times the Godzilla, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right
Yeah.
and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and youngs. But it's so often because it's just so funny. Like we all have these points of views, but we don't really think it's a point of view. We just think it's the way reality is. But point of view creates your reality. So anything that's fixed, anything that you don't think can change, well, is that actually true, or do you have a point of view there? So that's another thing. I go, okay, well, what's my point of view here? Like there was one time I was, and we don't even realize we have these points of views. Like Brittany was saying, you could pick it up from your parents. It could be an unconscious thing. So it's not saying that people are really conscious of all their points of views that they have. But there's something energetically that's creating what's showing up in their world. Whether that's, a cognitive point of view or a not cognitive point of view, whether it's rational or irrational, whatever it is, it's not like there's nothing to figure out really. It's just to acknowledge it and go, okay, I have this weird stickiness in my world. Okay, so everything that is pock and pot it, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and youngs, and see if that starts to shift and change things for you or give you a greater sense of lightness. Because that's what really kind of drew me to Access in the first place. Was I was listening to a free talk that Dr. Dane here, the co-founder of Access, did, and I was like, what the hell just happened, and why is the room kind of spinning? I was like, I don't know what. I was like, this is awesome, I'm happier. I don't know why I'm happier, but I'm happier. And why do I feel lighter? And what the hell? Like, I didn't really know, I didn't know what was going on, but I was just like, oh my gosh, something's working. I don't know what's working, but it's working. But yeah, so often, many times it's just, okay, and that's what I do with myself or with clients in general. It's like, I look at it, I'm like, okay, I know they're making some choice that's creating it. They have some point of view that's creating it. And once you can get to it, once you can acknowledge it, you have the possibility for choosing a different thing. Because that's really where it's your choice that's creating everything that's showing up for you. So if we can get you to look at or to realize that, what, oh, I'm making this choice. I didn't realize it before, but I am making this choice. Then you're like, okay, I'm over this. I'm going to choose something different. But so often it's like it becomes so difficult because we're not actually trained to choose, and we're not actually taught that we have choice. We're just like, no, this is your limited menu. You need to choose from this. It's like, but I don't even want this. Like, I don't want Italian. I want Mexican. I want a different menu. They're like, no, this is the only menu you get.
So can I ask another question?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, is that a back door?
Taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Well,
well, it's just how we're taught. It's like one foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake.
Well,
because that keeps you from not changing anything.
Correct.
So what have you decided can't change there?
Oh.
So everything that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Okay.
Because oftentimes this is, but these are all the ways I really like it. Very early on when I was starting facilitating and doing these classes, or I think one of the first classes I went to, I heard Gary Douglas, the founder, talk about the only one powerful enough to stop you is you. And I was like, oh, wow. So I'm the one that actually is impeding me. I'm the one that actually is stopping these things from showing up. I don't know how I'm doing it, but whenever I would acknowledge I was the one creating it, it would always get lighter for me because I would actually I'm like, okay, so what am I really choosing here? And I was always willing to look at it. I'm like, okay, I have this point of view. Like the one funny thing, it was really weird. I was doing a class in London, and the class wasn't going well. And I'm like, dear God, we're doing all this amazing stuff. We're putting these things out, but what's going on? It's not really generating or creating anything. So I was like, okay, so what point of view do I have here? Or what's I was like, I hate London. I can't make any money, and I'm never going back. I was like, well, that's a little odd because I've only been to London twice. And the first time I kind of enjoyed it. So I don't really know where this is from, but I definitely I was like, okay, so everything that is fucking pot it. I don't know where I got the point of view from or whatever. But then as soon as I did that, all of a sudden everything with the class got lighter and people started signing up and coming. So that's an example of point of view creates your reality, because I had this point of view that everything with it was hard and everything with it was hard. it was really amazing. And there was another time where I was like, it's just really funny to me because, you know, I was just having a conversation with someone yesterday about, you know, nonverbal communication dominates verbal communication. You know, all like when we look at communication, I think it's 80%, 70%. I forget the study, but you know, a huge over like it's all nonverbal. But then we put so much emphasis on the verbal communication, but we have all these nonverbal things, all this energetic communication that we're actually requesting of people and that we're actually communicating with people that we don't really want to acknowledge or we don't really look at. But then we wonder why people talk to us in a certain way that we talk to. Well, you're giving all this information. I used to always wonder, like, if you have a judgment of yourself, people pick that up and then they just give it back to you. You're like, why do people treat me this way? They keep treating me this way. Well, if you actually look at it, there's some point of view that you have that is like how people see you or how they see you, but you're actually giving it to them. You're like, by the way, here's my list of ways you treat me. You need to be mean or nasty or like you have like, yeah, you put it on your forehead. Exactly. But you give these people like so many times and then they have the choice of whether they can align and agree with it or resist, like, or not, or get into it. But it's so often, it's just funny to me because you actually can see so many times we're actually the one creating all of these points of views and all of these things, like we're creating how this stuff shows up for us. So what have you decided and defined can't change that actually could change? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. And I really, even the name of this call, I used to play with the question of, okay, I get that this can't change. I totally get this because I've decided it can't change and I'm not going to give up my point of view. It just can't change. But I'm like, but what if it could change? What if I would play with like, oh, okay, like what if I actually could have more money? Like I probably can't, but what if? Like, and I would just play with it and I ponder with it and get a sense of the energy of what if it could. Because so oftentimes we're not even willing to go there. We're like, no, it can't change. So I'm not even going to go there. But yeah. Any other questions? Sorry if I've been talking really fast. I feel like I'm talking like really fast, but oh well. No other questions? Nothing? Huh. Well, what have you decided and defined can't change that really could change? Everything that is times a gazillion we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whew. What have you decided and defined can't change that really could change? Everything that is times a gazillion we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. What clearings would you use for the supplements, vitamins? What do you mean clearings? Like to choose which ones you would pick, or can you give me more information there? $, or questions? Okay, great. I like it. I heard a joke. I saw a meme recently that I really liked. You know, the sign I'm most compatible with is the $. You know, they were talking about astrology. It was an astrology joke, but I like it. Hi, Jackie. I like $. That's great. But for supplements, I would really just look at asking their body. I'd be like, okay, body, will any of these supplements create which of these supplements, or will any of these supplements create a great possibility for you? And I'd be like, okay, body, I would first start with asking if it would like the supplements. Oftentimes we go from the point of view that the supplements are necessary rather than, hey, would you even like these? Because oftentimes, you know, the body might not require it, or it requires it in a different way than you've considered. Like recently I had a really bad headache for a couple of days, and I have a high pain tolerance. So I was just like, I don't like to take Advil or Tylenol or really anything, but it was just like, I'm over this. Okay. So I finally asked someone, and the moment the Tylenol hit my hands, the headache started to alleviate. And I was like, oh, weird. But I was like, okay, so body, can I just put this in my pocket and you'll get it? And it's like, yes. And it was so odd because I've never had anything like that really occur. But oftentimes, bodies can get the supplement or the energy they require in different ways than we consider. So I would ask, and like, okay, body, would you like these supplements? And if I get a yes, then I would go, okay, how would you like these? Would you like to ingest these? Should I just put these in a pocket and walk around with them? What are the ways, that you would like this? And show me. And it's often different, I think, because you deal with clients too. So for clients, it might be a different story, because they have their points of views about how they need to have it to actually get it. So just keep that in mind. But I would always go, okay, which of these creates the greatest possibility? Or will any of these create the greatest possibility for you? Magic pills. Okay, that was the only question. So what have you decided and defined can't change that really could change? Because the cool thing is, the moment you define anything, you confine it. So you created a pretty little box that keeps it in place. So if you define something as not changeable or as impossible to change, then you create it so, which is really fun. Because it's so cool, because then you can use all your energy to try and prove that you can change it when you've already decided you can't change it. So then you have to you're using energy to keep it from changing. You're fighting you on both sides. It's like playing chess against yourself. You already know all your moves, but you're still who's going to win this one out? So everything that is times a gazillion we destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Hey, Andrew?
Yes.
Hey, Shauna, I have a lot of that going on with my body as you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the definitions, is thinking what leads to a definition?
Is thinking leading to a definition?
Or is thinking like a definition?
Well, you're just, however you want to get to your definition, you can get to it. But I mean, you can think about how you got there if you really want to.
So if I'd like to change my body, then have I already defined my body so that I can't change it?
Yeah. I mean, have you defined your body? What have you defined your body as?
Just what it is right now.
Yep, what it is right now, which means it can't ever change to something else, right?
Right.
So everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and then create it all.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Because it's not really a question to be now, because in my point of view, I'm I got to go to the gym every day and work out, even though I might like it or I might not. I don't know. I'm I got to do so much. Yeah,
you already have your defined list of things. You've already decided what you need to do to change it. But you've already also decided it can't change because it's what it is right now, which means it can't be anything else. But you have your laundry list of I need to go to the gym and I need to do 25 push-ups and I need crunches and I need to run for a half hour and then I need to eat salads for 3 weeks, and all of these things aren't really questions. It's not, yeah. It's always about, asking questions of okay, well, body, what do you require to actually change? And what points of views do I have that keep my body from changing?
So many points of views.
Yeah, and it's if you actually start looking at that and acknowledging them and be okay, I have this point of view about my body. Cool, everything that is, pock and pot it. And then because many times we just have all these points of views and it creates what's showing up, and then but we also it's just so solid we don't want to deal with it. You're just oh, I can't handle this, I can't deal with this, I can't, which actually, and then you're just screwed. Well, you go to I'm screwed, or I can't handle it, or I can't, whatever, rather than just looking at, okay, I created this. So what points, what did you choose that created your body not being able to change, or your body shape as it currently is?
Or making it wrong?
Yep, that's always a good way of doing it. That's a nice choice. That always adds extra weight, So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
or I was kind of looking at the like energy of things. So it's like if we are the energy and space and consciousness, then with embodiment, is it the being that says, okay, we can't change this, and then define it?
Yep. Your point of view creates your reality.
So like what
point of view do I have that's creating this?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yep, that's the question.
So what creates the point of view?
You?
Well, who am I? Like, what is going on here?
The choosing one.
The choosing one?
Yeah, the one that chose to create the point of view. That's you. And everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Huh.
But it's really funny
Yeah,
because it can be this simple if you're actually willing to look at your point of view. But oftentimes it's like, for whatever reason, we're not, or we have all these other things that are in the way, or, you know, if you decided it can't be that simple or it can't be that easy, guess what? It can't be that simple and it can't be that easy. But, you know, what if that's not actually true? What if the only places you have difficulty in your life is because you have points of views? You know, if you actually truly had infinite choice, if you had any choice available to you, what would you choose?
I guess it's like more like, I guess what came up was total ease, and then just
well, are you choosing total ease right now?
No, I'm choosing a lot of thinking and like not confusion, but like
confusion.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said you're not choosing confusion, but you're choosing confusion.
Did I say that?
No, I said that.
Oh.
And now you're confused.
Yeah. And then as you were talking, I was looking at the negative points of views that came up in regards to, I was going to say bodies or my body, and it's like,
well, what if that's just the point of view though? As we're talking about it, it's like, you know, we were talking about earlier of like not having a point of view. Well, you know, not having a point of view doesn't mean you can't have a point of view. It just means you don't have a fixed point of view. There's nothing that's solid. You don't have to, but oftentimes we take this point of view and we have this idea we're married to it. Well, what if that wasn't actually true? You're like, okay, this is a point of view that works in this moment. You know, it was just like your clothes. These are the clothes that work today. Okay, now it's 30 degrees colder. These clothes aren't going to work anymore. I'm going to change my clothes. What if you could just change your points of views as often as you change your clothes? You're like, oh, my clothes stink. I'm going to take these off and I'm going to shower now. Oh, my points of view stink. I'm going to take these off and I'm going to clean. I'm going to use some soap. I need some really heavy-duty soap. This is really stinky.
Yeah.
But we don't look at it from that point of view. We look at it from the point of view that, like, we're stuck with these points of views, or they're sticky, or they're hard to get rid of, or like, this is just the way it is. So, but what if none of that's actually true? Which one makes you feel lighter?
Wow. It doesn't really seem that complicated after that, because.
Well, you know, whenever you go into complication, like I realized whenever I would be making something complicated or I was creating difficulty, is I had a point of view. So I just started going into, okay, and sometimes I still don't realize it. Like a week later, I'm like, oh, why? That was really difficult. It's like, crap, what point of view do I have here? Or what am I choosing that's creating this? Oh, well, I have the point of view that this and this is going to be hard and this isn't going to be easy and I can't do this with ease. And then I create it as that. I'm like, great. Okay, everything that is fucking potted. Now what else is possible? And we all have these. Yep. No, go ahead.
Oh, so it's just kind of looking at it and being like, oh, so I see like something as negative, or I don't believe that this body could be brilliant. And then just like that doesn't work for me, plug and plot it, and what if something could be
Yeah.
easier?
Okay, so just acknowledge your point of view, because when you acknowledge it, you actually start giving yourself a different choice. And you're like, okay, well, I have the point of view that this body can't be brilliant, and I can't look like anything close to what is people consider attractive, or I just have the point of view I'm not attractive at all, so let's just stop there. But it's like all those are points of views, so you can actually, so everything that is for all of you, will you destroy and create it all? Right, non-good and bad, bad and bach, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And then you can start looking at it from a different point of view. Because it was funny, I was just looking at something recently, like we were talking about like the way we've defined or decided about ourselves. And I still had these decisions about me and what I was like, and from when I was a teenager or when I was a kid, and I wasn't like really outspoken or I wasn't really social, but I was like, wait, but that's not really true right now. I'm highly social. I do these classes pretty much every weekend, and I'm in talking to people all the time. So me not talking to people and not being social and thinking I'm not like talkative or outspoken, well, that's not really true. And people didn't really think that about me, but I thought that about me. So I would only see that, or I would keep like trying to justify that to myself rather than looking at, oh, I'm just lying to myself proverbially. And then people would like always get confused but I have this point of view that this is the way it is, but it's not actually reality. It's not actually what's true. It's just the lie I keep telling myself.
And then did you change your point of view around that? Because everything that you just said is what I've been thinking about for a while. Because I'm like, I don't know how to go talk to people. I don't know where to go. I don't know.
Yeah, well, is any of that true?
Well,
do you have a girlfriend? Kind of. So that would be creating a connection then. So you know how to create one connection.
Okay.
See, but these are the lies we tell ourselves. We're like, I don't know how to do this. And then someone just said, oh, Shauna, you are so talkative and outgoing. So there we go. See? Again, you're talking right now, so it's like, but we tell ourselves these things that we're not this or we're not that, but is actually that true? Because you go into this judgment of comparing yourself. Like, what was I comparing myself to? Oh, well, I was comparing to myself to these people that I knew would just go up and talk to anyone at any moment, strike up a conversation. And I was just never really, like, I wouldn't do that. And I was like, but wait, could I do that? Yes. Would I do that? Probably not, because I'd rather just not talk to people. But it wasn't that I didn't have the ability to do it. I could always choose it, but I just chose not to. But choosing not to do something doesn't mean I don't have that ability. It just means I choose not to do it. And then, all these people have these points of views. They take these points of views about you. So, but that's all the thing, like Brittany was saying, when you buy someone else's point of view, you can start creating that as true for you.
So then what does it take to have, like, to be an interesting point of view and then be the
well, what if you just looked at, okay, so I think I'm not talkative, and I think I'm not social, and I think I'm not outgoing, and I think I can't create connections with people. Notice I think.
Yeah.
And we say in Access, whenever you're thinking, you're stinking. But anyways, so just acknowledge all of that. Okay, I think all of this about myself. Well, is this actually true? Yes, no. Which one's lighter? I'm like, shit. Okay, no is lighter. Okay, so crap. I've been buying this lie. So, okay, everything that is fucking pot it. And then, okay, well, what else is possible now? But so often we kind of just want to maintain these definitions and these justifications of ourselves rather than actually like looking at it and being like, oh. And it's also like, I always look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to change this. I love this. So I'm just going to keep it and enjoy the fact that, and then I start playing with it. I'm like, I just tell people flat out, oh, I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. I'm just not that talkative or social. And then I laugh. I start laughing about it as you're smiling because you're like, oh, this is fun. But, so that's the other way I learned to start playing with these points of views, because the moment I started playing with them, they got lighter or it got easier. Like, I would just go, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. I can't do it. I just can't bear it anymore. It's just like, okay, I'm over it. That's the amount of drama I can do. Now that I've voiced it, I've gotten it out of my system. Everything that is, fucking pot it. Okay, move on. What else is possible?
that makes everything seem a lot faster. And it's like, what if we
Well,
could
it's a
be
lot.
like, yeah.
It's acknowledging the lightness. Because you're acknowledging you have this point of view. You're not trying to say, I don't have this point of view, or trying to resist this, or trying to overcome this point of view. You're like, this is my point of view. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, cool. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is my point of view. Okay, I can change it. And then it's just funny because we like play this game of like internally trying to suppress it and hide it from ourselves, or make it right or make it wrong, or like overcome it to try and prove something. But all of that is just kind of the same, the same energy, the same alignment and agreement or resistance and reaction. We're just spinning it in a different way, but it's all like all of that stuff is heavy. It's a lie. It's not actually true. Which is so dynamically why the tool of like, what's light is true for you and what's heavy is a lie, is just so valuable, because it's like, I just like, oh, and there's times I totally forget to do this. And I'm like going down this road of heaviness. And then I'm like, wait, everything keeps getting heavier. Crap. Okay. Is this true? No. Okay. Back up, like retrace my steps. Okay. So what's light here, or what's a lighter choice, or what else is possible here that I haven't considered?
The other night, like everything was super light, and is it like, what would it take to be that light continuously? Because it seems like when I wake up,
are you
it's
asking to be that light continuously, or have you already decided you can't be that light continuously? It's very funny. I was having I was looking at stuff that I'm just like, most of the stuff I'm creating a lot of classes now. I'm doing a lot of stuff for my business, and I was been asking for these things, and I'm looking at it, and it's not showing up, or it's really difficult, and it feels like energetically, it feels like I'm pulling teeth, and I'm like, okay, well, what is this? And I was like, shit, I'm asking for it, and then I decide I can't have it right afterwards. I'm like, oh, that's not possible, and I'm like, well, that's always good, to ask for something and then decide the moment later that it's not possible. So I'm like, okay, everything that is Pocket Pod. And then it got progressively easier to do, like respond to some of my emails and some of the other things, because I got myself out of the way of myself. But they're so often, and it's funny because we don't really even realize we have these points of views or anything. But as I was saying, if you're having difficulty, if you're not having ease, you have some point of view there. So, and you all are looking at me, the ones that have video on are looking at me like dogs watching television. So I think we're coming up at the top of the hour. I did a good job. So what have you decided and defined you can't change that you really could change? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. My favorite line, I got myself out of the way of myself. Yes, exactly. It's a good choice. It's kind of fun. It's like there's an oncoming train of yourself coming at yourself, and you just jump out of the way. Or the other way around. I don't know. Anyways, I went visual. But so if you guys had fun, I'll send out the recording so you guys can all listen to this again. And thank you everyone for coming on. And for those of you that will be watching in the future, hi, how you doing? And if you would like, more of these amazing tools and 4 days of this, I'm actually doing a foundation class, which is 4 days of all these access tools and a nice brand new manual with Megan Hill in Cleveland, Ohio, August 10th through the 13th. So if that sounds like fun, you can come play. I'm also doing classes. Oh, and I have a bars class. I'm teaching a bars class, which is the kind of basic class in access. So if you don't know about that, it's 32 points on the head. At the worst, you'll feel like you had a great massage. At the best, your entire life can change. So we teach that class, and it's a full day class, and it's amazing. I love bars. But you can check all that out. That class is in Cleveland, Ohio on August 5th as well. So if any of that seems of interest to you, or you want to know more, you can check out me on my website. It's andrewgardella.com or accessconsciousness.com/Andrew Gardella. And I have a 3-day body class in Cleveland too. Yeah, so Cleveland's happening. Yeah, there we go. And also you can always email me back, from the recording. Thank you so much for everyone watching, and I hope you all have a great day or a great evening, whatever it is. Bye.